Hey guys, Shio here. I've been playing through all the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered games, getting all the Steam achievements for them, and it's been a blast so far, and I'm happy to announce I've finally gotten all the Steam achievements for Final Fantasy 6 Pixel Remastered. Final Fantasy has always had a special place in my heart for being one of my all-time favorite RPG titles, and with me finally completing Final Fantasy 6 means I will be now delving into other games to do achievement recaps for. So without further ado, let's get into this video. There are some achievements I won't be going over in this video, such as the gold achievements, the battle achievements, the bestiary achievements, and the chest achievements, because these achievements are self-explanatory, but if they do come up within the story, I'll be trying to add them in. So now let's get into our story, where we are found to be under control by some soldiers tasked to steal what appears to be a frozen Esper from the city called Narsh. So we make our way to Narsh in our magic tech suits. We pretty much are unwelcome there, and find ourselves fighting the inhabitants of Narsh who are protecting the Esper, but we pretty much steamroll through everything in our magic tech suits that boost our damage and make our way to the mines of Narsh. Where once we get to the Esper, Terra, the female under control, seems to react to the Esper and the two soldiers with us disappear, while Terra is the only one left from the incident and waking up later in someone's house, while it seems losing all of her prior memories to when she was being controlled, obtaining our first achievement, Mystifying Woman. Our next achievement, Prevailing Hope, is obtained after making our way through Mount Colts and navigating our way to the Returners' hideout, which is the rebel group in this game trying to protect the world. After meeting with Baron, the leader, Terra is tasked to choose whether to join the Resistance or not, but like in any RPG story, we choose to help and we join the Returners fighting against the Empire, gaining our second achievement, Prevailing Hope. After jumping on a makeshift raft and fighting Ultros, we get separated from one of our party members, Sabin, and are given a choice between one of three character scenarios we can choose from. You can pick whichever scenario first. It won't change the outcome of the story, but it feels nice that you get to choose whose story you would like to finish first. But if you choose Sabin's story, there's one thing to look out for, and that is the missable chests for the chest achievement. When going through Sabin's story, you'll end up outside of an area outside of Doma Castle called the Imperial Camp. This is an area once finished you won't be able to revisit, so be sure to grab all the chests here, including the hidden one where you have to jump over a ledge for. But after the war at Doma Castle and gaining a new ally in Kayan, the samurai, we make our way to Phantom Forest onto the Phantom Train. The Phantom Train is unrevisable once complete, so I had to make sure to get all the chests and bestiary entries here. But after that, we end up heading to the continent of Velt, which is located right here on the map, where our very next achievement is actually. This time it isn't a story achievement, but a side achievement called Master of the Wild. So on the continent of Velt, there's a town called Mobliz, where if you talk to some of the locals there, they'll tell you how there's a wild boy living amongst the monsters in the wild. So we go to the shop there to stock up on dried meat to help tame this wild boy with. After an encounter on Velt, there's a chance for the wild boy Gao to appear. All you do is you use a piece of dried meat on him, and he will join your party. Gao is needed to progress in the story, but you can also get his side achievement here. So with Gao, he has the leap ability, which only works on Velt, which teaches him ability of the monster he leaped into and leaped out of in combat. If you've made sure to encounter every single monster up until this point, you should have exactly enough monsters to get this achievement with, which is learning 50 monster abilities through the leap command. After we finish all three scenarios, we are now in Narsh with all of our characters, where we have to defend against the Imperial Army, threatening to take the frozen Esper away, but our job is to use three parties to defend against this assault. I really like this about Final Fantasy 6, where they actually get you to use all your characters in these little story events that they do, which is one thing, which in this one, it's similar to a wave defense, where you make three parties of up to 4 characters each, defend against an onslaught of enemies. The enemies weren't that strong, and all I did was use my first party to defeat all the underlings, and then use my stacked party to defeat the boss, to get the achievement, Defend the Esper. The next story achievement is when we learn about Magicite. After we spend some time looking for Terra, who turned into a creature that resembles an Esper, who ended up in the town of Zozo, with another Esper known as Rama. But to explain more about Magicite, Magicite is an Esper in crystal form where we can learn skills such as Blizzard, Fire, Thunder from specific Esper's Magicites. Also, some Magicites give bonuses, such as plus 10% HP or plus 1 stamina every character level with a Magicite equipped it. So Magicite is pretty much how we teach our characters magic. After some talking with Rama, he explains everything to us and how the Empire is draining Espers of their power against their will in the research facility. So Rama then turns himself into Magicite to aid us to help stop the Empire, then giving us the achievement Imparted Power. After making our way to Jador, we find ourselves in the mansion of Jador, where we find the opera house manager. He quickly mistakes Celeste as an opera singer named Maria, and he realizes his mistake. He runs off, dropping a note. We read the note. It's from the world's greatest gambler, Setzer. He plans on stealing Maria to make her his wife, and our plan is to intervene and get him to help us fight the Empire, since he has the only airship in the world that doubles as a casino. The Opera House had a really good cinematics. I love the interactive gameplay it had when choosing the scenarios for each text. But after the first part of the performance is over, we gain control of Locke again and find a note from Ultros saying he will be ruining the play. So our job now is to get to Ultros and stop him. After some navigating around the 5-minute timer, we end up getting into a fight with Ultros. The fight was pretty easy, but I lost Locke in the process, but thankfully I had Cyan and Sabin on hand, my two strongest damage dealers, to quickly defeat Ultros, which made this boss fight autoable, gaining our next achievement, Taking Off. Before starting our next story achievement, we have access to a new event in the game now, which is Auctions in Jador, and our next side achievement, Bidding Battle. If you're going for the Magicite Completionist achievement, you need to go to the auction house because they have two Magicites that can be won once, which is the Zona Seeker Magicite and the Golem Magicite. So after doing our first auction and buying all we needed to buy, we get our side achievement, Bidding Battle. Through some more story, we end up just outside the Imperial Observation Post, where if we have Terra in our party, we don't get kicked out of the place. After going through the area, we get to the next destination, Cave of the Sealed Gate, where the sealed gate to the Esper world is located. As we make our way through the cave while collecting all the chests and bestiary unlocks, we find ourselves outside the sealed gate, where to our surprise, Kefka followed us here and was planning all along to open the gate to the Esper world with Terra's help. After a fight with Kefka, Terra opens the sealed gate, unleashing all the angry Espers onto the world. After some more traveling, we make our way to Vector, where the Empire King is located. He was awaiting our visit, and through some talking, he stated he has lost the will to fight after seeing the power of the Espers and how they destroyed Vector and Rage after finding out their friends are no longer with us. And through some more talking, we are asked by the Empire's King to take Terra to talk to the Espers, getting our next achievement, Step Towards Peace. Our next location is the Floating Continent. After fighting some monsters as we make our way up to the Floating Continent, we get flung out of the ship and find Shadow laying nearly dead on the floor of the Floating Continent. We make our way through the area, filling up our bestiary and grabbing some chests on the way through to find a monster blocking the way to Kefka and the Empire's King. It turns out to be the monster known as the Ultimate Weapon. This fight was pretty hard. I ended up putting on 2 reflect rings on my characters to bounce back any incoming damage, but nearing the end of the fight I forgot twice that I couldn't use healing magic on my characters because of the reflect rings, and ended up just healing the boss. After the fight, we end up confronting Kefka and the Empire's King, where they're trying to control the power of the Warring Triad. The Empire's King has specific plans, but Kefka has others. Kefka wants to revive the Warring Triad so him and the Empire's King get into a fight where it leaves Kefka kicking the Empire's King off the Floating Continent and Kefka to revive the Warring Triad. Shadow then intervenes so that we can escape. We escape in time, but the world then goes into ruins from imbalance of the moving of the statues that it sends the world into chaos. We find ourselves as Celeste 1 year later, sleeping in a bed, and Sid there, who has been taking care of her the whole time, gaining the achievement End of the World. We are suddenly tasked to save Sid. You can either have Sid die by doing nothing or save him by catching him fish. The fish you want him to eat is the fast-moving fish, while not letting him eat the slow-moving ones because that will just lead more towards his death. So after saving Sid, he shows us a little project he's been working on, which was a makeshift raft to get off the island. After taking the raft, we end up on the shores of near El Brook. We then make our way north to find the town of Tizen, where once walking into Tizen, everything starts shaking, and we find Sabin there holding up a house with the kid still trapped inside. I wish I leveled up Celeste before the World of Ruin because she was really underleveled, but just a heads up with the house that's collapsing, obviously it's unrevisable, so make sure to collect every bestiary entry and chest inside. It took me a couple tries to figure out a setup with my underleveled Celeste, and got the chests and bestiary entries in one go, saving the kid from the collapsing house and reuniting with Sabin, gaining the achievement Looking for Friends Part 1. While traveling around, we end up making our way to Colligan, where we find Setzer. He tells us he has given up on fighting, and through some convincing from Celeste, he ends up joining us and telling us to go to his friend's grave. After exploring the grave, he ends up showing us his deceased friend's airship and our new means of transportation in the World of Ruins. After some flying around and gaining some of our old party members, we make our way to the new location of Zozo, where we find Cyan. He has been writing letters to a girl in her boyfriend's name so that she will no longer feel lonely and realize her boyfriend died in Mobliz. After some chatting, we end up getting Cyan back into the party and our newest achievement, Looking for Friends Part 2. Since we've got access to Setzer, we have access to the Coliseum now, where one of our next side achievements is, which is a simple one, Coliseum Champion, where we have to win 10 battles in the Coliseum. The way the Coliseum works is you put an item up for bid which gives you a better item in return if you win the battle. But if you lose the battle, you lose the item you put in. And you don't have a choice to pick what attacks your character does. It's all random. So if you can get really unlucky with some fights and just use useless abilities and die. So be sure to save right before each Coliseum fight. After exploring the deserted town of Narsh, we find Mog inside the Mughal hideout in Narsh Mines. He joins us and tells us about a Yeti hiding out in a cave nearby. So after that, we head to where the Frozen Esper is, while making sure Mog is in our party for the Yeti. After fighting the Frozen Esper, we free it from its frozen prison, and he turns himself into Magicite, gaining us more Magicite to use. But after the fight, we can jump off the cliff into the Yeti's cave. This area has some tough fights, but not overly hard. We make our way through the cave into the Yeti's hideout, fighting Magicite into a skull, gaining even more Magicite and even closer to obtaining the All Magicite achievement. But after we collected the Magicite, we get into a fight with Umaru the Yeti. This is where we want to make sure Mog is in your party. So when you defeat Umaru, Mog will then convince him to join your party, gaining the achievement Looking for Friends Part 3. Just a little about Umaru. He is a unique character. He can't learn any magic or use Magicite, and he will always use physical attacks no matter what. After some traveling, we end up heading back to Doma Castle with Cyan to get his final Bushido ability. While in the castle, we end up sleeping in the resting room of the castle and only 3 of the party members awake. 3 demons then come inside the room and say that they are going to take Cyan's soul as he sleeps. They then jump into Cyan's mind and we follow them into Cyan's mind. After some exploring in the mind of Cyan, going through the first area, we find 3 demons known as Kurlax, Laragorn, and Mobius. We fight them, defeating them pretty easily and heading further into Cyan's mind. After traveling through the Phantom Train and a cave, we end up in Doma Castle in Cyan's mind, where we find that Cyan is being tormented by a demon called Rexol because Cyan is pained from his past and losing the ones he loved. This Rexol fight was actually pretty confusing at first because all you have to do is kill the party member that he's controlling, but you don't know which one Rexol is controlling, so you have to kill each one of your member until Rexol appears. After he appears, it's a pretty simple battle, and after the fight, we save Cyan from his torment and get his final Bushido ability and the achievement Master Bushido. Time for the Master Mechanist achievement, where we find all the tools for Edgar's class. A tool is pretty much a piece of equipment with a unique attack to it, that either deals poison damage, can attack all enemies, or insta-kill an enemy. Most of the tools can be bought in the shop at Figaro Castle, but the 2 tools that can't be bought are the chainsaw, which is located in Zozo, and the air anchor that is located in Cultist Tower. The chainsaw is a really good tool with a chance to insta-kill a unit, but after collecting the air anchor in Cultist Tower, we get the achievement Master Mechanist. While grinding some levels for endgame, I ended up going for the Master Gambler achievement, where you get all 7s on the slot command of Setzer. It took me some time because the first 2 7s were all muscle memory, and the final one seemed more like a really hard timing, but I eventually did it and got the achievement Master Gambler. While going through Kefka Tower, we get into a fight with the last of the dragons, the Skull Dragon. After defeating the dragon, we obtain our last Magicite needed for the Magicite achievement Crusader, gaining the achievement Magicite Completionist. We're nearing the end of the game now, and we are now fighting one of the warring triads known as Fiend. Make sure you have Spargo in your party because this is the only area, aka monster, where you can learn the blue magic ability Force Field. After the boss uses Force Field, we quickly dispatch it and gain Spargo's last ability needed for his side achievement Master Blue Mage, where we have to learn 20 blue magic spells. We are at the end of the game now, and out of all the final bosses I've fought in all the Pixel Ram Mastered games, I enjoyed this one the most, because it felt challenging. So pretty much how the boss works is there's 3 phases of statues you need to beat before reaching Kefka. Each statue has its own unique gimmick, but you don't need to worry too much about it, as long as you have some high damaging characters. But after we beat Kefka, we get our final achievement, Breath of New Life. And since I made sure to encounter every bestiary monster before facing the final boss, we also get the achievement, 100% bestiary achievement. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be doing other games now since I finally finished the Pixel Remaster series now. Next video might be Final Fantasy VII or it might be something else. I'm not sure yet, but I spent a lot of time editing this video and working on the commentary script, so I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you ever want to catch me live, I always try to stream live on Twitch at least once every day. So my Twitch link will be in the description down below. So thank you so much for watching and peace.